Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on Hunter Biden. Now, Joe Biden went on Stephen Colbert and he referred to his son as the smartest man I know. I am not concerned about any accusations made against him. I think Joe should be more concerned that his son apparently has been smoking crack and banging hookers because that's not a healthy thing to do. Um, he has responsibilities, and I've read the text and emails that were found in his laptop. I've seen some of the pictures, and it paints a disturbing picture in my view. I mean, this is all just my opinion, but number one, I think Hunter is addicted to drugs. I think he's addicted to crack. I don't think he can smoke crack on a casual basis. Um, and I think he, like a lot of addicts, he's trying to slowly kill himself because deep down he hates himself. He hates what he's become, and he knows that his life and his work are essentially meaningless. He's just stuck doing all this stuff for you, which is illegal, immoral, counterproductive to society in general. I think Hunter will either kill himself by ODing or he'll actually just kill himself at some point. You becoming president will put 1,000 times more pressure on Hunter than you were as vice president. As vice president, yeah, you could get up to some pretty big shenanigans without too many people noticing. Nobody pays attention to the VP. Not really. It's rare. I mean, we all know Mike Pence was in charge of the beer virus task force and did a couple other things, but Trump is the one that's in view. And Pence, he could disappear for months. Nobody hears from him. Nobody cares. He's not the president. He's the vice president. He's just the backup president. You're not going to be the backup president if you get in. You're going to be the president. All the eyes of the world are on you. And already the mainstream media's attempt to paint you as this grandfatherly figure is weak. Your entire campaign is leaking like a sieve. We've already gotten the audio from the civil rights meeting that went terribly. The progressives in your own party are turning against you because you've shafted them for all their committee seats in Congress. You're probably not going to get their votes. You're probably going to have a group of Democrats that break off and form democratic socialism with, some overlap if you throw them a bone, but they're going to be your Tea Party. And unlike the Tea Party that just got co-opted into the Republican Party, I don't think you're going to co-opt these guys. Nah, they're very disruptive. And they're very power hungry. So they're already complaining about you. So what do you think that's going to do about Hunter? And I don't think for a second that you will stop trying to get Hunter to get more money for you. Because I personally think you're just that greedy. Because I think you'd have to be that greedy to accept money from China, communist China. I mean, Hunter is bragging in the emails and text that his deal is with the Chinese spy master of China. I mean, he's bragging about it like that's some kind of good thing. He doesn't understand or care that that would be something a Chinese spy master would want to do willingly. to just hand money to the VP and his son because it would just grease the wheels. And allowing China to eat our lunch, as Trump puts it, uh, besides the fact that that's going to hollow out the Midwest again and kill jobs and, enrich your friends, but ruin the lives of everybody who already hates you, Hunter is going to get some of that flack. They're not going to leave this alone. His pornographic images are all over the internet. And the Chinese have these images too. The FBI, Rudy Giuliani, they all have them. This isn't going away. You'll be forced to pardon him at some point. Now, you could get around probably almost anything except the IRS stuff. Hunter's going to lose that case because you always lose against the IRS, and he's just going to end up paying a bunch of money. It's not going to be any big deal. But, and maybe that's why the IRS case came up. This is your cover. The IRS slaps a big fine on Hunter, he pays it, and you just say, well, that was the real scandal here. And everybody just assumes, oh yeah, that must have been it. But Hunter's not getting better, in my view. He's just going to get worse. He's going to smoke more crack. And it could kill him. He's in his 50s. I mean, it's one thing to smoke crack when you're in your 20s. It's bad, but, your body can recover. He's in his 50s. He could die. I'm that old. I would never smoke crack. I had half a bagel, salted bagel today. My heart started racing. It was really salty, by the way. It was good. It was good. Good bagel. But Hunter, I mean, he could die. He's smoking cigarettes. Another thing, not exactly healthy, minor compared to the crack, but still. He's trying to kill himself. He hates himself, in my view. He's banging hookers. He already impregnated a stripper, which he denied, which you had to deal with. How many more women will come forward now that you're president and say, oh yeah, Hunter impregnated me too? How many STDs could he have passed to his brother's widow while cheating on her? It's bad enough that it even happened, that he shacks up, he divorces his wife, and years later ends up shacking up with his brother's widow? It's a bit odd. And then he cheats on her? I mean, it's odd enough. You get the family to accept it, and then he runs out and cheats on her. And now he's on camera banging hookers. I mean, don't you even care? He's not healthy. He's gonna die. Your pressure may kill him. And you're on Stephen Colbert doing a PR spin for yourself. For yourself. And by the way, Colbert, I think it's disgusting what you've become now. I mean, Jesus. I know you hate Trump, but my God. This is just... Do you even remember that you were supposed to be a comedy talk show? I'm embarrassed that I used to watch your old show now. Thankfully, I haven't given you any money for anything. I would never watch anything you were in, Colbert. Never. No. I would never support any project you do. This is... What you've become is so establishment. It's... it's such a tragedy, really. It's such a waste of your talent when you gave one of the most amazing press club monologues to George W. Bush. But I guess that was all just partisan. I guess, as long as the guy's Republican, you'll turn on the heat. And when the guy's not, you'll just kiss his ass raw. And Joe, I mean, look, I get it. You got to defend your son, but your son needs you. He's killing himself. And you're just going on with your career. Like, that's his problem, not mine. Do you really want to throw your son under the bus? Maybe you do. Maybe you want to see him die. It would certainly solve some of your problems. Then you could blame everything on him, right? He drops dead of a drug overdose. Everybody feels sorry for you and Jill. Oh, it's such a tragedy. No one should outlive their son. And then if any of the evidence comes forward, you could say, well, I didn't want to believe it, but that's what my son was doing. Is the money worth that much to you? Is it that good? Do you feel that great about it? I thank God every day I have a family that loves me. Because I know that, I don't have a kid, but, my dad, I know he would do anything for me. It wouldn't even be a question that he would quit or wouldn't run to help me. I know that 100%. He'd do anything. Anything. And that family is more important than anything to him. To you and your son, what you're doing after you already lost a son, it's I pity you. I just pity you and your family. You what are you? That you would let this go on. And you clearly have the power in this relationship. The dynamic between you and Hunter is fairly clear. He is under your thumb, paying everybody's bills out of the money he's making, exploiting the family name. And it's still not enough. I guess, at your age, you're never going to change. You're just going to keep going and accumulating money and power as much as you can until finally your heart just gives out or your brain bleeds out and they just find you on the floor somewhere. And then, you just fade out knowing that you grabbed every dollar you could. And what will you leave behind? Well, you'll leave behind a son who's, in my view, completely out of control, self-destructive, probably won't survive without your protection. Even if he survives the drugs, I mean, once you're gone, who will be there to pardon him or protect him? No one. Do you think the other Democrats will? Do you think they want to get their hands dirty protecting Hunter after you're gone? I don't think they do. But then again, it won't be your problem, right? You'll be gone. How about your grandchildren? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If he's a drug addict, then what's the status of the grandchildren? They see this behavior. One of your young family members saw the behavior. They flagged him. His therapist flagged him. He talked about it in the text. He said something like, my therapist said, I've been sexually inappropriate with so-and-so. Name redacted. There's a picture of him in an open robe. His junk is out. They blurred it out in the picture, and then behind him on the bed is a young minor, I think a girl, in the same room with him. Even if it's a boy, it's still weird. He's on the phone naked. And he takes a picture of that and he saves it to his laptop. What? What is wrong with him? Why is he doing this? What is wrong with you, Joe Biden, who had to be stopped sniffing young people and being touchy-feely to the point at which you tried to defend it? You did it again, even after you were publicly admonished for it. Will you just go back to doing it? Now, if you get into the White House, who will stop you then? No one. You could sniff whoever you want. Are these the values that you're there to protect? I think your whole family's messed up. Something seriously wrong with you. This recent story about Jill, like, well, you got to call her Dr. Biden because she has a PhD, and anybody who doesn't is a misogynist or something. I don't care. No one cares about your wife. She's a first lady. So what? There's been tons of first ladies, and they didn't need to be protected like fragile little eggs, the good ones. Eleanor Roosevelt certainly didn't. She would get up and defend herself. And there have been others who've been more forceful. Hillary Clinton, certainly. Nobody messed with her. Your family is effed up, Biden. And you really ought to save your son. But maybe you're just the product of, I don't know, the dysfunction in America. Maybe your family represents that dysfunction. Maybe we're getting what we deserve with you. And we'll all go down with you because we didn't fix whatever the hell was wrong with you. We didn't punish people like you for your behavior early on. We just kept letting it slide, and now here we are.